traps that had been alleged by Gachagua State House while he was still deputy. 2 weeks after signing a pact with President William Ruto, UDA Odinga said they will work together to move the country forward.
Pale tuko sio pale tulikuwa miaka zile zingine, lakini sio pale tunataka kukua. Tunataka Kenya iendelee mbele zaidi. Kuna mambo mengi ambayo mabaki ambayo nataka yafanyike. Najua mambo tumekuwa naye pande atakufanya uchaguzi, tuko na shida. Hatujafika kile kiwango ambayo unafanya uchaguzi ile ambayo inaitwa free and fair. Lakini wakati itafika. Kwa hivyo mpaka sisi zote tu sacrifice. Tumefika pale tuko hapa, sio mahali ambayo tungependa tukutue hapa. Lakini nchi mpaka iendelee mbele. Kwa hivyo mimi naambia watu wetu tusimame pamoja, tukae pamoja. Hatua ambayo tumechukua tunayajua. Kunataka kuelekea vile vile tunajua. Kuna wengine ambao wanawaambia sisi tuendelea pande hii nyingine, hiyo ni mzuri, lakini nasema bwana, jana wewe ulikuwa unasema sisi ni nyang'au. Leo wewe unaniambia sisi sasa leo tumekuwa malaika. Tumebadilika, tumekuwa kutoka nyang'au tulikuwa malaika namna gani? Kwa hivyo sisi wenyewe hatuwezi kudanganywa. Tunajua pale tunataka kwenda. Naambia watu wetu wasimame imara. Nina hakika tutafika. Nina hakika tutafika. Lakini hatutaki unafiki ya mtu ambaye nisema hapo mimi tumeweka mtego. Mtego. Waswahili husema mtego wa panya ushika waliomo na sio kwemo. Sasa wale ambao waliweka mtego ndio mtego umewashika. Sisi tutaenda pamoja. Ama sivyo? Ama sivyo?
Right, moving on. Former Health CS Susan Nakumicha has made a comeback to the public service in the latest government nominations as permanent representative to the UN Habitat in Nairobi after 7-month hiatus. At the same time, principal secretaries have been reassigned, with Professor Edward Kipsiangani moved to the Council of Economic Advisors to the President as a senior advisor from the Ministry of ICT. Julius Bitok to the State Department for Education, replacing Dr. Belio Kipsang, who will serve in the State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services. New nominations for appointments as PS includes Dr. Jane Imbunya, State Department Public Service and Human Capital, Regina Accord, State Department Trade, Asriel Odeide, State Department Public Investments and Asset Management, Dr. Caroline Karungu, State Department East African Community Affairs, and Dr. Olunga Frederick Ouma, State Department for Medical Services. Right, moving on, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi says he will not resign from the government and has called on President William Ruto to openly address Kenyans about who is behind the killings and abductions in the country. Speaking in Mombasa after closing a summit of the African Union, Muturi emphasized that he has a written letter to President William Ruto regarding the matter and is still awaiting his response.
Kama serikali kwamba hatuungi mkono jambo la utekaji nyara na pia mateso na wengine hata kuuliwa kwa binadamu hapa nchini. Sasa ule mtu ambaye anakashifu jambo hilo ndiye anatakiwa kutoka ama ni yule ni nani anatakiwa kutoka? Ule ambaye ananiambia nitoke basi anasema anaunga mkono utekaji nyara na kuua watu kiholela kinyume cha sheria. Nani hapo anatakiwa kuwajibika? Kwa ile jambo la kusema utoke, ujiuzuru, utajiuzuru kwa kusema ukweli ama kwa nini? Lazima mtu aseme uzungumze ukweli wako pale. Na kama kuna makosa yoyote niko tayari kusimamia na kuyatetea vilivyo, hata kama nitakuwa upande gani. Nimemwandikia rais aniruhusu nisihudhurie mikutano hiyo, kwa sababu mimi nimeyatamka hapo mbeleni mambo ambayo yanahusu utekaji nyara wa watu katika taifa letu la Kenya, na wengine kuteswa na wengine pia kupoteza maisha yao. Imekuwa janga kubwa, na nimeonelea kwamba hilo jambo ni lazima lizungumziwe katika baraza la mawaziri, na kama lizungumziwe, mimi nahofia kutofanya vile inaonyeshana ni kama Wakenya ama dunia mzima itachukulia kama vile baraza la mawaziri pia linaunga mkono.
Now, the Senate Education Committee has yesterday questioned the Principal Secretary in the State Department of Higher Education and Research, Beatrice Muganda Inyangala, for the controversial university funding model, whose implementation has been halted by the courts. PS Inyangala was hard pressed, among other things, to authenticate the means testing formula for disbursing funds to students that has adopted to categorize according to the level of need. The committee members terming its outcome as misrepresentation of reality.
How did you get your data? And surely, when the student is feeling, you can be feeling saying that we earn this amount of money. I'm living in a house that is not a permanent house, while they live in that houses. Why are they saying that? They are saying that because they don't want to look poor. But when the rubber meets the road, the reality checks in. The parents cannot afford to pay.
We undertook a survey, Honorable Chair, and 53% of the students indicated that their forms had been completed in a cyber, and they were not very sure what was put in those forms. And obviously then when you feed a model with the wrong information, what comes out will also not be good. But that being the case, Honorable Chair, we do have an appeal mechanism, and students who felt that they had been put in the wrong band had an opportunity to appeal, and then the data that they had completed would be reviewed.
Right, National Assembly Budget and Appropriation Committee Chairperson Samuel Atandi has reaffirmed his commitment to ensure equitable distribution of resources across the country, while stating that the biggest problem in this country is equity in sharing of resources. Atandi, who is also the MP of Alego Usonga constituency, said that he is well aware of the damage that inequalities in sharing of national resources has caused to the welfare and dignity of this country. He therefore reiterated his commitment to ensure that all parts of this country benefit from the public resources.
I am happy that the President has agreed to cede the most powerful committee in Parliament to us and for me to chair. As I promised them when I took over that I would not let them down. The biggest problem we have in the country is equity in sharing of national resources, and I am well aware of the inequality in sharing of national resources, the damage that has caused to the welfare and dignity of our country. And therefore, I'm not going to leave any stone unturned in ensuring that all parts of the country benefit from public resources. That everybody, a Kenyan, must benefit from the public resources that we collect from them. I also would like to say that the country is now headed in the right direction. As I said, most economic fundamentals are telling us that the life in the country is improving. We are seeing inflation rates coming down. Inflation rates, as at last year, were trending at about 6.5%. This month, the inflation rates have come down to 3.5. The foreign exchange rates, the stability of the dollar has become very stable. It means, therefore, that the cost of importing goods has come down, and therefore, life is getting better. The agricultural production has also improved. Kenya has been able to produce most of their food. This
Now, former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i's supporters have appealed to individuals not keen on his presidential ambition come 2027 elections to respect the position held in society. The supporters from the former CS's home turf equally vowed to restrain themselves from antagonizing critiques of his candidature, who might insensibly change the attitude. This came amid remarks by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga during a visit to the area, claiming the local community could not propel Matiang'i to the presidency single-handedly. This appeared to anger a cross-section of supporters who viewed them as disparaging to the community. Speaking in Kisii town, former Assistant Minister David Kombo asked ODM leader Raila Odinga to reciprocate the respect he enjoyed from Matiang'i's community.
As a son of Gusii community and a proven servant of the Kenya people, Dr. Matiang'i's stellar track record speaks for itself. His unmatched performance in the President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration across multiple key ministries showcased his dedication and competence and vision for a better Kenya. Any Kenyan is free to speak so long as it's within the law. On very deep inside me, let me say that any of us, those who support Matiang'i, never be ready to talk ill of the others. Even if you get any member speaking ill of Matiang'i, leave him alone. He will come back. He will change.
Stand behind Honorable Matiang'i's stand at this time to move forward for the seat, the top seats in our nation. Not to bring forth our son, who is ripe, not only in our eyes, but in the eyes of the entire nation and in the eyes of the entire world.
Now, Chief Justice Martha Koome yesterday hosted His Majesty King William Alexander and Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Kingdom of the Netherlands at the Supreme Court building in Nairobi. The royal couple is on a state visit to Kenya, affirming the strong bilateral ties between Kenya and the Netherlands and underscoring their shared commitment to the rule of law, democracy, and good governance. Bilateral discussions with the judiciary revolved around three main areas, including judicial independence and national stability. And Justice Koome emphasized that an independent judiciary is the cornerstone of Kenya's democracy, protecting the constitution, guaranteeing fair trials, and safeguarding citizens' rights and freedoms. She reiterated the judiciary's unwavering stance against any external political or private influences that could compromise impartiality, noting that impartial courts serve as a bedrock for long-term national stability. Right, moving on, Kenya's National Transport and Safety Authority, that is the NTSA, has suspended Super Metro's operating licenses. NTSA said the decision was necessitated by the need to ensure the company is not only compliant, but that it has put in place safety measures to protect the lives of its passengers and other road users. Traffic police have also been instructed to impound vehicles belonging to the company if found on the road. According to NTSA, the bus company violated safety laws. 15 vehicles had expired permits, 109 drivers exceeded speed limits, and staff contracts breached labor regulations. Additionally, almost 300 of Supermetro's vehicles were flagged for various speed limit infractions, such as expired certificates, instances of vehicles exceeding the 80 kilometers per hour limit, and a lack of proper speed limiter records.
As we speak nowadays, they even come to the roads to inspect those vehicles. And if you heard from the statement that they gave, the reason why you can see the vehicles are still hovering around is because that suspension has just been given right now. So I would urge the DIG police not to detain any super metro vehicle that is on the road right now. Kwa sababu kunafaa kuwa na notice. Kuna super metro bus ilikuwa maybe on hire, ilikuwa inaenda mahali. Sasa inafaa isimame mahali iko, alafu abiria wafanyiwe namna gani. So the vehicles have to reach their destination. Number 2, there should be fair notice. Hii magari wanasema haiko imefanyiwa inspection. Have they arrested, detained any vehicle ikiwa kwa barabara? Wakasema hii gari tumeshika haina makaratasi ya kuwa kwa barabara. They have not. Because sometimes you find gari zetu ziko kwa magarage na gari inakaa hata 1 month.
Right, Nakuru CBD was brought to a standstill for the better of Thursday morning as hundreds of residents held a major protest protesting the increase of road accidents in Nakuru and the forceful disappearances of youth in the last 4 months. The demonstration caused heavy traffic snarl up for hours along Kenyatta Avenue. The aggrieved residents lamented over recent accidents along Nakuru-Eldoret Highway, saying many lives are lost along the busy road. They said the accidents have become common, which has prompted them to rise up in arms demanding for the erection of road signs along the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway. On the issues of forced disappearances, the demonstrators voiced their frustrations over the authorities' inaction.
Vingi sana barabarani. Wananchi wetu wanakufa kupitia kwa ajali za barabara. Hii barabara ya Salgai imemaliza watu wengi sana. Na mimi nasikia uchungu kwa sababu yule ambaye labda amebeba mtoto wangu kwa tumbo anakufia hapo kwa sababu ya ajali. Tunasema ya kwamba can the government make sure that if they promise to give us a dual carriage ya barabara ionekane wakati huu. Hatutaki ya kwamba kila wakati manusura unatolewa kwa magari, wamefinywa na magari. The best thing the government can do is to kutoa rambirambi. What is rambirambi helping those that have already lost their lives on the roads?
I want to say and call on to the government that we also have a right when it comes to articulating our issues well. We shouldn't be silenced. We shouldn't be taken away and kidnapped under mysterious circumstances and our bodies found in trenches or buried somewhere. That's why it's our right. Please protect us. We do not want to fight with the government when it's come to these issues. Just hear us out.
And I have an issue, the issues of forceful disappearance and the issues of road accident. The unmarked roads that we have, especially in Nakuru to Eldoret Road, the leaders that we have in this position, we expect them to give us solutions, but it's disappointing because you also find that the same leaders that we expect for them to speak on our behalf, that the same people who are inclusive in these injustices. So we demand for more. We're not even asking because we know our leaders and we demand for more.
Now, Bandari Maritime Academy students on Thursday staged another demonstration 2 days after Mining Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho promised to resolve their grievances. The students have disrupted learning over exorbitant fees, poor management, lack of sea time, and delays in issuing of seafarers' identification documents. The unrest and slowly snowballed into a full crisis after the students lit bonfires using palm tree logs, barricading the road leading to the institution. It took the intervention of anti-riot police officers who arrived in the nick of time and removed the logs and dispersed the students. The students vowed to go to their strike until the grievances were addressed. They lamented that even after CS Joho directed the academy management to engage them in a bid to find a solution, they haven't called a meeting.
We're here because we were here on Monday. Nothing has been done yet. So, and our only issue is to be heard. Now, it's like we've not been heard. So, here we go again. We're not tired. We are not tiring anytime soon. So, we are persisting that we must be heard. These people are scamming us, and we want it to end. If not now, it's never. So,
Monday tulikuwa hapa maandamano. The same issues zenye tuna claim leo hapa. Mambo na fee, mambo na nini. Polisi wakakuja, wakapiga wenzetu tear gas. Monday tulikuwa wanafunzi kama 400 hapa. Saa hii ukiangalia tumetokewa wanafunzi kama 50. Hao wengine wameogopa juu ya kupigwa tear gas. Lakini tumesema sio tuogopa. Hiyo tear gas mtatupiga. Lazima mambo yetu yasikike. Lazima.
Kila kitu ambacho kinaendelea hapa bandari, it is just dictatorship. Hii leadership haitaki kusikiza wanafunzi. Wanafunzi wanalipa school fees ya wakati ambao wanaenda attachment. Unalipa school fees na hauelezewi hiyo school fees inatumika kwa njia gani. Wanafunzi wanajitafutia pia attachment. Shule haihusiki kutafuta attachment, hata barua zenyewe za attachment shule inanyima wanafunzi kama mwanafunzi hajalipa school fees. So hii kitu sisi kama wanafunzi tumekataa.
Right, it is exactly that 2 minutes past the top of the hour. At that note, we're taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with the newspapers telling you what exactly is happening on the dailies today in Matters News. Raila's big harvest. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, in what they term as handshake with President William Ruto, is paying dividends with the latest changes landing the ODM chief 14 principal secretaries post as the duo broad-based government continues to take shape. But the reshuffle will come at a huge cost to directly, or rather to already overburden Kenyan taxpayers, given that no single official has been sacked to pave the way for the new entrance. Of course, that particular story can get it on page 4 and 5. Now let's see about the fresh appointees. Now, Eden Abdi Millah has been appointed to the Shipping and Maritime Affairs. Dr. Jane Kari Mbonya, Public Service. Ahmed Ibrahim, National Government Coordination. Dr. Boniface Makoha, Economic Planning. Professor Abdul Razak Shaukat, Science, Research and Innovation. Michael Lena Salon, Devolution. Karen Achieng, Children and Welfare Services. And Judy Pareno, Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs. Regina Kov, Ombam, Trade. Dr. Caroline Karungu, East African Community Affairs. Dr. Olunga Ouma, Medical Services. And Fikirini Kahindi Jacobs, Youth Affairs. Stephen Isaboke, Broadcasting and Telecommunication. Let's see who has been demoted. And Professor Edward Kisiangani, the former Principal Secretary for Broadcasting and Telecommunication, has been named as Special Advisor to the President. And you'll remember the Standard newspaper had that particular story on Edward Kisiangani this week, actually, naming it as the enemy of the press. Do check at that particular newspaper. It was dated this week, I guess on Monday. Yeah. Moving on, let's see people who are moved from different dockets to other different dockets. And Julius Bitok, Immigration to Basic Education. Dr. Belio Kipsang, from Basic Education to Immigration. Elijah Mwangi, Mining to Sports. And Ismail Madei, Youth Affairs to Special Programs. Teresia Mbaika, from Devolution to Aviation. And Hari Kimtai, from Medical Services to Mining. And who has been promoted? Mr. Amos Gadesha, the former Public Principal Secretary, when he appeared before the National Assembly Public Accounts Committee, he has been promoted to Deputy Head of Public Service. And the Principal rejects TSC criteria for promotions through the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, that is KESHA. Principals have petitioned the Commission as well as the National Assembly, arguing that a quota system of TSCs is using to promote teachers disadvantaged regions that have a higher number of qualified tutors. And Kisiangani order to advertising by state farms quashed competitiveness and transparency. Right? I guess that's the big story that the Standard has. And on to other matters, Kihika, that is the county governor for Nakuru, lengthy absence keeps county on edge. the conspicuous absence of Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika in the county for the past 5 months has raised eyebrows once again. Since November last year, the governor has been running the county through social media, where she has been highlighting ongoing completed projects, much to the chagrin on her constituents. The governor came out on January 17th of 2025 to explain that she was expecting a baby and that she was on a long maternity leave. Now, however, a section of her constituents want to hear none of that, insisting that her absence must be explained in detail, and they have moved to the county assembly to ask members to interrogate the absence. In their petition filed yesterday at the assembly, more than 2,000 residents, led by Evans Kimori and Mercy Akelo, demanded full disclosure of Kihika's whereabouts. Now, let's take a look on what's making headlines on the Star newspaper dated today, the 21st of March 2025. And PS reshuffles the top story on the Star newspaper dated today, and Ruto has created 7 new state departments, bringing the number of PSs to 58. Now, Dr. Bello Kipsang has been moved to immigration, Regina Obam to trade, Julius Bitok to education, Amos Gadesha to public service, and Edward Kisiangani to a senior presidential advisor. Now, officers on the brink patrolling edge of distress before the body of Constable Paul Wagadari was found hanging from Belgat, where he had been experiencing anxiety attacks. His colleagues did not realize he was battling depression and needed medical attention. Of course, you'll remember that police officer who committed suicide along the station's premises. Of course, that particular story, you can get it on page 2 of the Star newspaper dated today. Now, child welfare in deplorable state, lament lobbies. The Kenyan child is still confronted with violence at home, forced marriage, labor exploitation, and FGM, which hinders their preparedness to compete with those from other parts of the world. Right? Let's take a look on matters sports. And the newspaper says, vroom, vroom, off Safari Rally cars go. Of course, there is a picture there. You'll remember President William Ruto officially flagged off the WRC Safari Rally yesterday at KICC. And there is a picture there of President William Ruto flagging off the number of car number 28, driven by Carl Tundo and navigated by Team Jesop at KICC Nairobi during the start of the 2025 WRC Safari Rally on Thursday. Of course, this WRC is expected it is a 4-day event which is expected to end on Sunday. President William Ruto has urged corporate sponsors to step up and take a bigger role in funding future editions of World Rally Championship, Safari Rally, and as the government looks to reduce reliance on public funds. Speaking, of course, at the official flag off of City Hall Way on Thursday, Ruto emphasized that the long-term success of iconic event hinges on private sector investment. Now, the president highlighted the government aggressive budget cuts for the events, slashing expenditure from 2.1 billion Kenya shillings in 2023 and 980 million Kenya shillings this year. Ruto commended the Safari Rally Organizing Committee for securing over 400 million Kenya shillings in sponsorships and undergoing the event's growing appeal to the corporate brands. And you'll remember Safaricom also weighed in as their communication partner, offering 46.7 million, I guess. Yeah. Now, at that note, we wrap up our, of course, WRC are set, and so are we, to bring you the latest details from the event. I don't know if you're actually going to the WRC in Naivasha. If you're not, I'll be keeping tabs with that particular event, and we'll be bringing you in our subsequent bulletins later on in the weekend. Now, it is exactly 45 minutes past the top of the hour. That's not. We're taking another short commercial break. When we come back, we have a conversation, an exclusive conversation with a model. Actually, we're going to tell us about the modeling industry as at now, what it takes and what not. My name is Martin Masharia. We'll be back in a few.